I always believed that life, changing moments arrive with loud warnings, shattered glass, raised voices, blazing signs in the sky. But the moment that changed mine arrived quietly, tucked inside a single email notification glowing on my laptop at 2:13 a.m. I remember blinking at the subject line, confused and half asleep. Irregular account activity verification required. The sender, a private Swiss bank I barely recognized. At first, I thought it was a phishing scam. My life wasn't glamorous. I didn't own hidden overseas accounts. But then I saw my full legal name, my grandfather's initials, and a trust number I had only seen once, years ago, while going through his old documents. Something cold crawled through my chest. My grandfather had been a disciplined man, quiet, hardworking, and extremely private. Before passing away, he would say cryptic things like, "We save not just for ourselves, but to protect the future." I never understood what he meant. My parents always insisted he left little behind. There was no fortune. My father would sigh, just stories and memories. I believed them. Why wouldn't I? But as the email loaded, my reality tilted. A trust fund with my name as the primary beneficiary. A balance far larger than anything I imagined, and a transfer request initiated by my parents. The document attached showed everything clearly. My father and his new wife, Samina, had attempted to move funds from a Swiss trust into joint family accounts, including Samina's children, Sarah and Ibrahim, names that had no blood connection to my grandfather. My breathing stopped. For a moment, I thought it was a mistake. My parents were strict, distant, yes. But thieves, betrayers, it felt impossible. My heart thudded painfully as I reread the line. Beneficiary change request pending approval. They weren't just moving the money. They were attempting to replace me. I sat frozen under the dull yellow light of my desk lamp, feeling something inside me unravel. Every sacrifice my grandfather had made working abroad for decades, leaving his homeland, surviving hardships was meant for me. And the two people who should have protected that legacy were quietly rewriting it for their new family. The realization hit like a slap. I didn't just feel betrayed, I felt erased. I printed the email with trembling hands. The paper felt heavier than it should, as if it carried the weight of everything I had ignored for years. The rising tension, the favoritism toward the new family, the coldness that had grown between my father and me like an invisible wall. By sunrise, one truth echoed in my mind. Nothing in my life was what it seemed. And I had no idea just how deep the deception went. By the time morning arrived, the printed email in my hand felt like a burning truth I could no longer ignore. My chest felt tight, my mind racing between disbelief and anger. I walked down the stairs toward the dining room, each step sounding louder than usual, as if the house itself sensed the storm approaching. They were all there. My father sipping tea, Samina arranging sliced apples, and her children, Sarah and Ibrahim, laughing over some video on a tablet. The perfect new family, a picture that never included me. I placed the printed email onto the center of the table. My father paused mid-sip. "What's this? Read it," I said, my voice steadier than I felt. Samina reached for the paper, her eyes scanning the lines. Slowly, her expression shifted from confusion to fear. My father leaned in, and the moment he recognized the bank's name, his face hardened. "Where did you get this?" he demanded. "That's your concern." I shot back. "Not the fact that you secretly tried to transfer my inheritance." He didn't answer. Samina cleared her throat. "Your misunderstanding. We were simply rearranging assets for everyone's benefit. A family needs stability. A family," I repeated. "Or just your family, because I wasn't considered in this rearrangement. You tried to remove me as a beneficiary." Sarah, who had always carried a smugness she thought was charm, leaned back in her chair. "Maybe it's because you don't contribute. Dad does everything, and we're all part of this house." My hands clenched. "Your father is not my father, and my inheritance isn't yours to claim. Enough," my father snapped, slamming his palm on the table. "Don't speak to her like that." I stared at him. "You're defending them after stealing from me." "We were not stealing," he growled. "We're managing the finances. You're irresponsible. You don't know how to handle large sums. That's not your decision to make," I whispered. Something inside me cracked. The man I once admired now looked like a stranger, cold, dismissive, annoyed by my very presence. Samina folded her arms. "Maybe some space will help. "You're acting unstable." I scoffed. "You want me to leave so you can finish taking everything." My father didn't deny it. He just said, "It would be better if you moved out for now. We all need peace." Peace. The word felt like poison. I packed my belongings in 15 minutes. No one stopped me. They didn't even follow me to the door. As I walked out, the home that once echoed with my childhood felt foreign, claimed by strangers. That night, alone in a cheap rented room, my phone vibrated. Another email from the Swiss bank. Urgent in-person verification recommended. My parents thought they had erased me. But fate, in Switzerland, had other plans. The plane trembled as it cut through the clouds, carrying me farther from everything familiar. I stared out the window, numb, watching the world shrink into a patchwork of lights. My parents' rejection still echoed in my mind, but the Swiss bank's email pulsed louder. Urgent in-person verification recommended. Those words felt like a lifeline. When the plane finally landed in Zurich, the cold air slapped my face, grounding me. I didn't have a fancy hotel room or a detailed plan, just a backpack, a heart bruised from betrayal, and a desperate need for answers. The Swiss bank headquarters stood like a fortress of glass and steel. Inside, everything was spotless, silent, intimidating. A receptionist greeted me with professional calm, and after checking my ID and documents, she led me through a hallway lined with frosted doors. "Mr. Keller will assist you," she said, opening one of them. Mr. Keller, a man in his late 60s with silver hair and sharp, kind eyes, stood to shake my hand. His grip was firm, his presence steady, qualities I didn't realize I desperately needed. "You have traveled far," he said gently. "Please sit." I handed him the warning emails. He studied them with a seriousness that made my heart race. "Your grandfather was a very wise man," he finally said. I swallowed. "You knew him." "Only through his meticulous documents," he replied. "But they spoke volumes." He turned his monitor toward me, showing a detailed digital ledger. Next to my name were bold red flags. "Your parents attempted to move a portion of the trust last month," he explained, "and again last week. Both were flagged as unauthorized." I exhaled shakily. "Can they do that?" "No," he said firmly. "Your grandfather structured this trust with strict protective clauses. They violated several." He reached into a locked drawer and pulled out a sealed, yellowed envelope with my name handwritten on it. My heart stopped. "This letter was left by your grandfather," he said, "to be given to you if any irregular activity occurred." With trembling fingers, I opened it. My grandfather's handwriting, familiar, shaky, emotional, filled the page. "My child, if you receive this, then someone has tried to take what I saved for you. You are the rightful heir, do not fear. Justice is on your side." Tears blurred my vision. "Mr. Keller continued, "Due to the attempted fraud, Swiss law automatically transfers full control of the trust to you. Additionally, every fund they tried to move is now locked under your authority." It took me a moment to grasp the weight of his words. My parents hadn't just failed, they had given me power accidentally. For the first time since the betrayal, I felt something new rising inside me. Strength and a quiet promise. This wasn't the end. This was the turning point. Returning home felt like walking back into a battlefield where I had once lost every fight. But this time I wasn't the same wounded, abandoned child who left. Switzerland had changed everything. My grandfather's words echoed inside me like armor. "You are the rightful heir. Justice is on your side." Clutching the legal documents and verification papers, I pushed open the front door without knocking. The house smelled the same: cooked spices, fabric softener, and something faintly artificial from the scented candles Samina loved. Yet everything felt different. They were all in the living room. My father on the sofa, Samina pacing, Sarah scrolling her phone, and Ibrahim pretending not to notice me. The moment they saw me, the room stiffened. My father frowned. "Why are you here?" "Because Switzerland had a few things to say." I replied, placing a thick folder on the table. Samina snatched it, scanning the first page. Her face drained of color. No, this can't be real." My father grabbed the papers. As he read, his expression collapsed, first confusion, then shock, then something like fear. What is this?" he stuttered. "It's everything you tried to hide," I said calmly. "Every transfer you attempted. every illegal request you submitted, every clause of the trust you violated. Samina stepped forward, her voice trembling. We weren't stealing. We were just trying to secure the family by removing me as beneficiary. I interrupted. By taking what my grandfather left for me alone, you tried to erase me, but the bank didn't allow it. I tapped the folder. In fact, they transferred full authority to me. Every asset you tried to move is frozen under my name, and you will be facing an investigation. Sarah rose to her feet. You're ruining everything. Dad was building a future for all of us. I looked at her, no anger left. Only clarity. It was never yours. My father sank into the sofa, shoulders shaking. Please, we made mistakes. Let's talk. We're still family. Family. That word again. I stepped back, the memories of being pushed aside, dismissed, thrown out, replaying in my mind like wounds reopening. But this time they didn't hurt. They strengthened me. Family doesn't betray. I said softly. Family doesn't steal. Family doesn't cast you out like garbage. You chose your new family, and that's fine. But you don't get to take my life to build theirs. Silence fell heavy, suffocating, honest. My father whispered, "Can you forgive me?" I paused at the doorway, breathing in the moment, letting the weight settle. Maybe someday, I said, but not today. I walked out with my head held high, not to punish them, though justice was already unfolding, but because sometimes the sweetest revenge is simply reclaiming the life that was always meant to be yours, and finally choosing peace over pain.